Well, here we go again. The United today, as I think it's going to be really interesting to see what United are doing at the moment. They've just offloaded a load of players. I kind of respect Amorim's philosophy to an extent. I don't necessarily agree. It's an argument I've been having a lot with people that United support. It's like we're a big club, taking this seriously. At the end of the day, when you're a lad, and you go out and play football. Talking about the Rashford situation. You want to go out and play football, boy, you want to be able to enjoy your job. Being at United is probably one of the most intense teams you could play for, bar the likes of City and Liverpool, and Arsenal. Whereas you see other teams lower down to you look at Bournemouth, they play a very intense game, but you can see that they're enjoying their football, and they're doing well because they're enjoying their football, gelling together. Whereas, you can see that City are struggling with their morale. You can see that Spurs are struggling with morale because of injuries. There's so many variables to it, and I think I kind of agree with Rashford wanting to have that little bit more. Like, he didn't want it to be so intense. He wanted to enjoy his job. He wanted to be able to enjoy playing for a team like you. Now, I'm just a neutral in this scenario. I know there's probably a lot of people that would disagree with me, but I don't believe that. It's a difficult one because managers will come in and look at what they have, and they'll look at other teams and look at all their players and think, what can I do? How can I structure it? And unfortunately, it looks like Rashford's going to enjoy himself at Villa. I hope he does. Starts to get that spark back and he becomes the player we all need to be. But I will see you at the calendar, because I am not going to sit here and talk for takes about 10 minutes. No, this has not happened before. It cut out partway through March and sacked. They sacked the manager. They terminated the contract, which is really bizarre. It's literally only giving me right. Okay. I kind of want to see where United ended up before they were sacked. Where was United in the table? Wow. Wow, they really didn't fuck around. I mean, I'll continue on anyway, for that benefit. Quite funny. Okay. Interesting. I guess we'll just skip to the end of the season and find out where United are. That's a bit of a strange one. I mean, I suppose I would have. I think back to Ten Hag's sacking. I think the board need to set a little bit more realistic expectations in terms of they need a couple of seasons to sort of start rebuilding, and rather than focusing on trying to get back to a position where they were before. Because quite honestly, it's it's one of those where they're pushing too hard to win another trophy. They're pushing too hard to retain that legacy. And I've seen nothing short in the last 3 or 4 seasons, even longer. They've had Ten Hag got the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup, I believe. Again, no, I know they got the FA Cup against City. I can't actually remember. I mean, comment down below and correct me if I'm wrong. And they definitely won the Carabao Cup and the FA Cup with him, and then he was just pushed to get sacked. I think, honestly, they would have still had Ronaldo had Ten Hag. They looked at Ten Hag before, and both these managers that have come into United have had this philosophy, which is a good one to have. But with the state of affairs that United are in, it's too many people with attitudes and certain, they're deflated constantly with these changes, and they're not giving managers enough time to build. I mean, that's the thing with any club. You could have a couple of great seasons and then you start bringing in poor results, but that, when you're a club pushing for trophies, you need to go out and spend money, and you need to go out and spend money well. I'm going to assume that Saints got relegated in the season as well. Yeah, we did. Where did United finish? Finished in pretty much the same place that we left them. If City winning the league and Spurs becoming... Spurs were a point. It's literally the difference between a draw and a loss, with Liverpool finishing 4th. I mean, I can only speak about United from an outside point of view. And football these days is becoming a lot more competitive and a lot harder and a lot more intense for young players. Young players go into the sport because they want to play for their local team or play for their dream team. And the world they're being thrown into is not the world that they end up ultimately getting at the end of the day. Really hard. And I think there needs to be some more realistic expectations being set, rather than, especially for the bigger clubs that are struggling, rather than just going, oh, there are strict expectations for you to go in and perform to the highest standard since Alex Ferguson. No, because it's not possible. What Alex Ferguson did for United can never happen again. And he's manager for, say, over 20 years, I think. What is being asked of these players is not doable anymore. It's not. But, there's a lot of people out there that disagree with me, and football is a massive sport based on opinion. My opinion could make sense to others, and my opinion could be me speaking out of my ass to others. I don't know if I'm going to get sacked this time, simming through the rest of the season. But, United are expected to win the league and get to the Champions League place and everything else, but it's like, there is too... think about Rashford, think about all the injuries they've had, think about the players they've lost over the years. United is a hard team to play for, no matter who you are. The club, they have the most fans in the world, based on their accolades, but they're not showing those accolades now. They've had their time, like when Nottingham Forest won the Champions League twice. It's all about being humble and realising that you just get to a stage where you can't be that competitive anymore, especially with the amount of money being pumped in. But obviously, a club like United, biggest fan base in the world, with the biggest expectations from the board of you to push out and do well, to win Europa League and qualify for Champions League in the same season and squad that you have, I put them on par with Spurs. If Spurs can't do it, I'm neither United. And I love Spurs, and I'm sorry for and right now because he's been battered by injuries. United's been battered with controversy, injuries, the lot, and Radcliffe's come in and changed everything. It's going to be a while before we see United being the team that I'd say within the next 5 to 10 years they could come back, but they're going to end up in the same cycle they always have been, not performing to the best of their ability. They need to have a couple of off seasons. They do. They're not going to be a team that's going to get relegated. As much as the joke's going around based on how poor they're doing, I mean, I think they need to be humbled, relegated, but that is never going to happen. It would be a massive scandal if they did. They would have to have the Premier League deduct points from them to get relegated. Like, I respect everyone's opinions on United, whether they match up to mine or not, but they've had their time. Now it's, City, I think, will have had their time. And if Slot goes on and wins the Premier League within his first season and even wins the Champions League, that'll be fucking enough. And then it'll be Liverpool's turn. Because Liverpool have always been the almost team. Same with Arsenal, same with United, same with Spurs. Chelsea could start doing bits and pieces next year as well. But the game's forever changing, and the teams are forever changing, and legacy means fuck all. To be honest, it's a period of time. Drop in the ocean. More teams are coming up that are challenging for the positions. Premier League is becoming a lot more competitive towards the top of the table. Within the last 10 years, you saw Leicester, of all teams, win the Premier League, whether it was off seasons for everyone or not. We're at a stage where we could potentially see Bournemouth fucking something. Interesting. Predicts Arsenal to turn it around and win the league. Liverpool to come second. City to pull their fingers out their asses and third with Chelsea. See, I don't know how you can get Bournemouth going on a massive loss spell and only getting 7 points for the rest of the season. I don't think so. I honestly don't think so. That I can agree with. Spurs finishing 15th? No. I think United gonna finish about 11th. 12th. Can't see United turning it around like that. But I know say he isn't the most reliable, so I wouldn't even put it set in stone that Arsenal are gonna win the league. I think they are gonna win the league. It's a tough one. Oh. United being the only team so far to have a prediction for the exact same for both. Kind of interesting. On around similar points as well. Quite mad. And of course, Saints as always being top on the table. I thought it was hilarious the fact that I got sacked me. Man City winning the Community Shield. That. Yep. FA Cup, surprise at Liverpool. And the Carabao Cup. Liverpool being kicked out to Plymouth is quite funny. Arsenal PSG this time for the Champions League instead of PSG Man City. Not running Europa League, and we're still looking. Interesting. Yeah. Okay. Well, I don't really know who to do next. Might be Forest. I can give it a week or so and see how Forest. I mean, they did go on to batter Brighton something like 7-0 after their loss to Bournemouth at 5. So it's quite interesting that they turned that around. Nothing so far has screamed to me that this is gonna be how the table looks. But we're still, what, 20 odd games? There's about 14, 15, 16 games left of the season. Maybe by the time this video comes out. So we'll see. It's an interesting one what EA keeps spitting out at me, that's for sure. But enjoy content like this and want to see more of it, please like, subscribe, don't forget to hit the notification button to be alerted to new videos, and I'll see you in the next one. Farewell.
But just before I go, I want to give a shout out to these two amazing people right here. Sarah Barrow 3, I've been following her community and her Twitch streams for a good few months now, and the community has welcomed me in with open arms as I try and improve my content for you guys. So go and check her out. She's on Twitch, she has her own Discord channel, and she's got TikTok. Tears of Grace is actually the man that inspired me to start making my videos with broken builds. So if you're into a little bit of madness and a good old laugh, go and check him out as well.